I have had a range of educational experiences in Kent, from academies to private schools. Sometimes the changes were through choice, sometimes not, but I gained from each one of them. I embraced each change, and from that I've gained an open mindset. I think that's something that we can all gain from having a range of experiences, and something we can all benefit from. When you type into Google what it means to be open-minded, it tells you that people that are open-minded are capable of letting go of control, making themselves vulnerable, making mistakes, being honest, and strengthening themselves, and then gaining confidence. That's exactly how I would describe the effects on me of all of my educational experiences. The area I grew up in is one where even getting into primary school is competitive. At the age of 4, I was denied a place at the local primary school and sent to one that was much further away by the government. It didn't have the best reputation, and some of the parents were not supportive of the teachers or the education system in general. There was the occasional situation when the police were called to the school. This was the impression I had of the education system. Not everyone is in favour. Despite this, I made some lifelong friends there, so not everything was bad. At the age of 7, I moved primary school, and I was placed into a class full of really intelligent students. It became clear that I didn't quite fit in when they were all reading fluently, and I hadn't learnt to read at all. We later discovered that I had mild dyslexia, and so reading and writing were things I particularly struggled with throughout my primary school education, and still even now. I was always towards the bottom of the class because nobody else really had dyslexia. I thought that all the other kids were clever, and I was just stupid. So moving on to the end of primary school, when most people take an exam called the 11+ to get into grammar school. The exam's competitive, and most people have a tutor for at least a year before, maybe even 3 or 4 years before. I had a tutor, I went to the sessions after school, I did past papers, and I even tried to get onto a course that would further aid my preparation. This is something I will never forget, because when I went to the course, you had to take an exam to get onto it. And the lady running the course said to my mother and I, "Emily is going to fail the 11+. So we're not going to help her." I was 10. And the impression I was given was, everyone will take this exam. Those that are clever will pass and go to grammar school and get good jobs. Those that aren't will fail and go to a bad school. So I was going to take this exam. Whether or not some woman had told me that I would fail, I had worked hard and I deserved it. So along came the 11+. And out of the 64 kids in my year, there were probably about 10 that didn't take it, and 3 that took it and failed. I was one of those that failed. Everyone else passed. So that's when the biggest question came up. Where do I go now? I couldn't go to grammar school, like all my friends, and all the local state schools were connected to churches, and I didn't go to church, so I couldn't go there, and I wasn't in the catchment area for any other schools. So the only 2 options I had left was the local non-selective state school that had been classified as failing by the government, and I was lucky to have this option because most people don't have it at all, a private school. We found a small private school in the middle of the countryside that specialised in DLS, dyslexic learning support. It was perfect for me. I was finally in an environment where I was comfortable. There were other kids that had dyslexia. I wasn't alone. They were from similar backgrounds to mine with similar aspirations and priorities, and there was a mix there of international students, so there was diversity. But most of them had been in private schools for their entire education, so I did stick out again. At 14, I confidently chose my GCSEs. I decided I was going into food marketing. So I chose courses in food technology, business studies, and media studies. I thought I would go on to do a marketing degree at university. I had it all set out. I did well in my GCSEs, and then I had to think about sixth form. That's when I started to realise that everyone else would go on to do 3 A-levels, but I wanted to see a bit more of the small bubble that I had been safe in. I wanted to experience something completely different again. English had become my passion, despite it being my weakness, and art was something that I had avoided at GCSE level because I thought the course would be constricting. I wanted to do both of these subjects at GCSE. I didn't want to be held back by my dyslexia, and I didn't want to be told that I couldn't draw in a certain way. These were my two demands for sixth form, English and art. They were not driven by what I had been told to do, what I got the best grades in, or a career path. They were what I enjoyed and what I wanted to gain from and improve in. So, where was I going to study? Well, the failing school I had rejected for Year 7 had since transformed into a multi-million-pound building being run as an academy. The sixth form had only been going for 3 years, teaching a new, practically unknown international baccalaureate course, the IBCP. Ben Hunter spoke about this in last year's TED Talks. But to give you a mini summary, it included 2 IB diploma subjects, a vocational course in financial studies, and then the core element, which included a study of a language and a culture, volunteering in a community, looking at your own approach to learning, and a reflective project, which is similar to a mini dissertation at university. It was completely different again to every other A-level system used in the area. It had a broad range of subjects instead of just 3 straight A-levels, and this appealed to me so much more. Luckily enough, one of the IB diploma subjects was a subject called visual art. It's where your own ideas lead the course. The teachers guide you, not restrict you. And alongside the IBCP, they were offering English A-level. Had I found the perfect school again? I began sixth form in September last year at the academy. I went from a private school to an academy. And I'm very aware that people don't usually say that here with pride, but I am so proud. I have learnt so much since being there, not just academically, but from the people, the students, the teachers, the parents. They are so different to what I thought was normal. Unlike my previous school, the students didn't all see university as their future. They didn't all see passing exams as their biggest worry. And something else that has opened my mind is a subject that we take called Approaches to Learning. It's part of the core element. You explore how you learn and what you want to achieve from learning. And from this, I have decided that whatever path I take, I want to benefit from it. I want to continue learning, continue opening my mind, and continue expanding myself as a person. And if I had continued on the path I started, age 11, until I reached 18, I'm not sure if I would have that same mindset. I see this in my friends that will have spent 7 years in the same educational institution, age 11 to 18. Really important years when you go from a child to an adult. Some of them have really excelled there, but they haven't had the opportunity of being exposed to new people, new environments, and new opinions. And I think this is really important for our development as individuals. I've been given so many new opportunities since I have moved. I wasn't to know that I would have any of these opportunities, and I knew there were many I could have had at my previous school, but I chose not to take them. I didn't want the easy option, and I never wanted to be asking the question, what if? So, what if I had taken those 2 scholarships I was offered at sixth form to stay at the private school? What if I had let my dyslexia define me and I didn't get those A's at GCSE English? What if I proved that woman wrong and I passed the 11+? What if I never moved primary schools? What if? Well, I now feel that I can embrace every opportunity with an open mind. I have gained that confidence because I viewed obstacles as opportunities, and I embraced each one, and I'm going to continue to do so. Thank you.